Welcome to Planet Pluto Pseudo.
Good people. Y'all know who it is. I got my little bounce on because I'm all excited about the podcast tonight. Y'all know who it is. It's me, your homegirl Ladosha Wright, aka Key Lolo. That's right. Coming to you live and direct from my bedroom. That's right. All right. And then over here, y'all know who it is. It's none other than Cheryl Morrow, the hair oracle, a title affectionately given to her by none other than hair savant, who I will have the opportunity to meet next week at the Afro Hair Summit, which, by the way, if you don't have your tickets, don't forget, we have a couple of more seats left. So you can learn from Cheryl Morrow. We got some people they coming through the chat, Cheryl. They already. What's up? They coming through. We love y'all. Look at that. Y'all coming through. Come on down the Soul Train line. Oh, come on. Put y'all dances in there. Do the robot. Do the walk. They don't know about that robot, do they, Cheryl?
No, they don't. I don't.
Yeah, Cheryl.
No. I'm a dancer. Don't mind me. Come on now.
I was finna, not finster. I was finna say, you don't know who used to get up on Saturday morning, and y'all know what we used to say. If you old enough, LaWanna, I don't know if you old enough, Sonia, you might be hair savant. I'm sorry. I know you're too young. So you probably didn't get up Saturday morning at around 11 o'clock our time. And we used to say, it's the Soul Train. Cheryl, you must have been up too.
No, I was up. I was Cheryl, ready. I was ready for the dance moves.
You probably had all access, didn't you? Tell the truth, because your father.
That's another story for another day.
Make me jealous. Go ahead.
No.
She like, nah. You, how many times you seen Don Cornelius in real life?
4.
Oh, 4.
Well, you have to remember the Johnson products ran Soul Train.
I you know what? Every time I do these lives, you come with something so dope. I'm sorry, I was not aware.
It's true. The Johnson products actually were the back end. They booked the shows, they booked the celebrities and everything. Don Cornelius, and he was the number one advertiser, but they literally ran it.
Wow. Because
Don Cornelius ran that past George Johnson, and George Johnson wasn't with it at first. You know, it was all a big discussion in Black Haircare. It was all a big discussion.
Because I think I still might have a clip. Oh man, I took it down. Wait a minute, hold on. I think I got a clip. Wait a minute, hold on. Here we go.
Dreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Daydreaming and I'm thinking of you. Looking for more.
And notice what music they use. They didn't get, royalties rights. That's how powerful Black Haircare CEOs were at that time. And I think Aretha Franklin was also an endorsement of Fashion Fair.
She was. Mm-hmm. Man, y'all remember that commercial? If I could, we had some time, I'd take y'all to my refrigerator, because I ain't going to lie. I'm going to take a picture. I got them letters on there. Anybody in the chat got some letters on that refrigerator? I'm going to take a I'm sorry. I do. I had them letters on my refrigerator, and when I get Sonya, when I get ready to go out in the morning, I try to see how many were. That was part of the soul train. I mean, I'm
Yeah, it
just
was.
saying, I mean, I just can't let it go. I know I need to grow up. Okay. Yeah. I was Sonya Salam. Here's what Sonya's. Here you go, Sonya. You ought to run a black hair Jeopardy, yeah, because you be on it, sure. I mean, oh my goodness, my we got my Yuka Puka Dukas is in the chat. We got Mal in the house. He traded us for another state, but that's okay, Mal. I still love you, but we have a wonderful one. Oh, you said, hold on. Those letters came down when your son left for college. You ain't old enough, Harrison, right? What you talking about? Oh my goodness. You look like you're about 15 years old. Okay. You might, oh shoot. Look at this, Cheryl. You ain't gonna believe who just popped up in the chat. Let me comb my hair. Hold on. I don't want to use that comb. It ain't time to show that up. Wait a minute. Hold on. Because I don't want him to say nothing. Here we go. My jigger, my jerv, my jelly preserve. Bam! We got Dr. Spritz is in the house. It say Herbert Pittman. But everybody, that's my one and only Dr. Spritz. He's my protege. He makes sure that I knows what I'm doing at the hair salon. And when I don't, he will pop your fingers. Hey, sure. He was trying to show me how to finger wave, right, Hair Savant? And you know how you got to finger wave, and I didn't pass the class, right? So he like, you got to comb it, and I'm up here like, grab, push. He said, pop. I was like, oh. Hey, today if you pop a student, you might get canceled.
Well, that's probably why their work looks the way it does.
Yeah, you need to get popped. So I know y'all like, we shouldn't be hitting the students. Well, Spritz like, you're not going to pass the class until you do what I tell you to do. So anywho, I'm all for popping fingers. When I was learning how to color, I got my fingers popped, and I'm an excellent colorist. I know some of y'all like, I wish he would hit me. You can hit me, Dr. Spritz, because I'm a better stylist because of it. Whoop, whoop. But anywho, we have a wonderful, wonderful topic today. Speaking of being a better stylist, if you are in the hair game, right? You are a barber, you are a cosmetologist, a colorist, a slayologist, a loctician, or whatever, and you want to level up your game and you really, really just, about that life, then tonight the show is for you, because we are talking about none other than the man who made it possible for every single human being on the planet in modern day times to be able to get through their hair with pride, okay? And no pain would be none other than the one and only, the legendary, the late, great, I still feel like your dad is still here.
Right.
Dr. Willie Morrow. I feel Dr. Willie Morrow, like every morning I get up, I feel like he said something like, now come on, Dosha. Come on, Dosha, you can do it. So, so I feel like your dad is always here. So tonight, this show is all about him. And so, in our career as cosmetologists and barbers, like I said, locticians, braiders, weave slayers, and makeup artists, because he didn't just do the hair thing. He was into all kinds of stuff. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe you own a beauty supply store. People think like that's all we do, So tonight we want to highlight, we can't highlight everything because he did so much. But we're going to try to do our best to show you what you can do with your career beyond the chair. And as you all know, Cheryl and I, we have not made it a secret that we are actually in the process of writing probably the first bill in the United States of America to expand that education in cosmetology and barbering by including curly. I'm getting it together, Cheryl. Curly hair science. Because we all know, I have my book here. Hold on, Cheryl, because they probably ain't going to believe me. Hold on. Y'all wait a minute, because this book heavy, sure. You just can't grab this. Oh, hold on, y'all. Here it is. I don't know if y'all know, but this book, except for some contributions to some other writers and hairstylists, it really hasn't been changed since 1923, 24. And so Cheryl and I, we're saying, you know what? It's time for that change. So stick around, because tonight you are going to be inspired. But before we do this, we have our Get Reels. Remember, I go over to TikTok, and every Thursday I just scour the TikTok, and I like to see how are they getting real. And since the topic tonight is all about inventions, I would just go over to TikTok and see what do they have by way of inventions. Are you ready for this, guys? All right, here we go. Get real. Look at Cheryl, like this ought to be interesting. Here we go. Get real. Here we go.
I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's corn. A big corn banana.
Can you imagine? This hair maker is so... This hair maker is so unbelievable.
Dog. Come on, man.
Okay. Has anybody tried the automatic hair braider? I'm telling you, don't y'all try that thing. Now, the little thing for the kids' hair, I thought that was a cute invention, because when I was a kid, I used to be terribly, terribly afraid of like water just getting all on me. I was like such a sissy. But I don't know about that automatic hair braider. Has anyone tried the automatic hair braider?
Yep.
Erica, what's up? We got my Detroit player. You see that, Sonya? Erica to join the chat. What's going on? Harrison said nope.
But it looks like a toy.
Yeah, I'm
I think it's still in its infancy stage.
It needs to stay there. It needs to stay infancy, and mamas and daddies and aunties and uncles teach them kids, how to braid that hair. Okay. All right. Here's another Get Real show. You're gonna love this one. All right. Here we go. Here's our last one. Get Real. I hope this is the right one. Here we go.
You single girl. Hey, bitch, I'm back and my ass got bigger. Pretty face and a real nice figure.
Without leaving the house, you can suck your whole family, mom, sister, and watch Uncle Steve suck himself. Looking good, Steve. Haircuts even more? Introducing the Flowbee Precision Haircutting System. Get that freshly sucked hair you've always dreamed of.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Come on now, dog.
If it's a haircut, why is it called the sucker?
Because it sucks the hair. You didn't see it? It's like a vacuum. It pulls the hair up, right? It sucks the hair up, and then it cuts the hair perfectly even. And you just stick it in the hair, and you just pull it, and then the machine cuts the hair automatically. So it sucks and it cuts. Y'all, come on now, dog. Come on, dog. Y'all think y'all want to cut hair the old-fashioned way? Y'all, come on, Chad. No, you okay, Hair Savant. I know what's up. See, here we go. Hey, remember the Flowbee? You don't like that invention?
Woo!
Science loves it. They nasty. Talk about something. It sucks. Well, it does. It sucks the hair up, right?
Right, but how does it know What part to cut?
Because you can turn the gauge, you know, like you can turn it to how much you want to cut off.
I know, but if your hair,
well, once you put it in there and it sucks
right, it works. What, about 3.5 inches? But what
I
if
don't
you?
remember. I don't remember how much it can cut off, but it's not very much because it's kind of really meant to. Oh, and wait a minute, Cheryl. Here you go. Ooh, blackity black. It's got guys. Okay. And it's called Floor. It was called Flow B before it was called the Hair Sucker. See how they just, like she said, the automatic hair braider was in its infancy, like a toy thing.
Mm-hmm.
So see how they just keep moving. They repurpose, rebrand,
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of common in the hair industry, right? They will take an invention and just kind of.
well, you always want to prove it, but then you also want to solve a problem.
All right.
Usually
Okay.
inventions.
All right, improve and solve a problem. So, welcome everybody. This is our 8th episode. You are over on Planet Pluto Pseudo, where everybody has a little light under the sun, under the sun, under the sun. So, a couple of shout outs before we get into the topic again. Our one and only Mr. Hair Savant, who affectionately gave Cheryl her nickname, Hair Oracle. My homegirl, Sonia Salam, my Detroit player, Miss Erica Morgan is in the house. My protege, Dr. Spritz, a.k.a. Herbert Pittman. Mal, my Yuka Puka Duka Chuka Luka Tuka is in the chat. Luana, what's up, family? What's up, Miss Luana and everybody else out there trolling, but y'all ain't gonna say nothing. It's all good. We ain't nothing like a good old troll. We love you guys so much because you guys help us change the narrative. That is what this podcast is all about. It is truly for licensed professionals and, of course, your hair aficionados, whether you own a hair salon, a beauty supply store, you just like hair, then you are definitely on the right podcast. And Cheryl and I, we are your dedicated cosmetologists. Though Cheryl's a little bit, a little bit more to keep low. Okay. So we're going to get it together. So tonight we are talking about leveling up your career. There are lots and lots of people. When I went to do some research finding the clips, I did find this wonderful channel that had a lot of information. So I took some snippets. I keep forgetting to put their names in it, but I'm a better hairstylist. I'm going to get better. Spurs, you got to help me out. But anywho, we're going to start off. Now, you have probably heard Cheryl talk about these people like 1,000 times. And if you want to know more about some of these people that's featured, last month we had our book of the month. It was called Styling Jim Crow. And that is by Julia Kirk Blackwelder. And then don't forget, this month, we got a couple of more weeks, and we're still rocking out. I'm going to get it right this time, Cheryl. Naomi Klein, and this is Doppelganger. And if you've been rocking out with us for this month, you will definitely see that the natural hair industry is definitely our community. It's definitely the doppelganger to the cosmetology and barber industry. And this author, she has put it right on the head, when it comes to doppelganger. So that's what's going down. So tonight we're going to get started when we talk about how to level up your career. And Cheryl, as I play these clips, if you could be so kind to give us a little bit more insight, and maybe if any of these people inspired your father. When I go to cosmetology schools and speak to students, I always ask them, like, well, who inspires you? And a lot of cosmetologists will say nobody, that this was something that they wanted to do themselves. And then you have another sect, who says my grandma, my auntie, or they might mention, a celebrity stylist. But a lot of cosmetologists, they're just like, hey, I just been doing it all my life, and so this is what I did. So hopefully this podcast will inspire you to look up some of these people so that you can take yourself to the next level, because tonight we're going to try to get into the mind of Dr. Willie Morrow as to how in the ham sandwich, when did this man ever, I don't know how you were made, Cheryl.
Well, what?
I don't know how you got here, because Jesus Christ, this man must have been like, okay, sure, bam, get back to this stuff, because he's done so much. All right, so let's get started with no specific order. Here we go. You may have heard Cheryl talk about this woman 1,000 times on both podcasts. Here we go.
Today's hidden figure is Rose Mita Morgan, better known as Rose Morgan, who was the owner and operator of the largest beauty parlor in New York for Black American women. She was also among the founders of New York's only Black-owned commercial bank, the Freedom National Bank.
Yeah. Now, I never knew. I'm going to be honest. I did not. All of these people that I'm going to show you, I know like the surface stuff, but some people, I mean, of course, there were so many. I mean, like I could have just went on for days. But you talk a lot about Rose Mita Morgan. And so we don't know that much about her, but how, she owned a hair salon, the largest in New York City, and a bank. How during a time when women just couldn't do Jack Ruby, and how would you say again, did your father know anything about Rose Mita Morgan and all this cool stuff? So let's get some Rose Mita Morgan. If you know anything about her, let's give her some love and drop the RM in the chat for the late Rose Mita Morgan. That's RMM.
Unfortunately, when we do go down through history, we'll just brush over people, and we'll say we'll say something about them, what they owned or what they had. But Rose Mita Morgan, you guys remember Elizabeth Arden, Ellen Rubinstein, Estee Lauder. There's a famous Hollywood film called The Women, and the parlors at that time, obviously salons, aka salons, they were they had nurses. Her salon was a more of a parlor, to the point where she had nurses and medical care, and she didn't have she had RNs, literally RNs.
What?
in her salon.
Wait a minute. Can we pause for a minute? You mean we could have RNs in the hair salon back in the day?
Yeah, she had RNs. When you read upon her, she had nurses, real nurses, facialists, just all types of dentistry work, just anything to be absolutely beautiful. But one of the most infamous things is that she was married to Joe Louis.
You mean the boxer? What? I'll be sheep, jeeps to creeters. Well, that's Cheryl. You're right. Who said that? Cheryl needs to have hair jeopardy. Man, oh man, oh man. I don't even think I saw that.
Right. If you Google it right now, that's how he got the restaurant.
I'm like you, Sonia. What?
Yeah, she was married to Joe Louis.
Wow.
Right.
So,
and she was a socialite, and so it was strategic. And so Joe Louis was the most powerful prize fighter at that time. And
so what I'm going to do, Cheryl, as you're doing this, I'm going to, pop out some words that just really jump out, like you just said, strategic. Now, I know a lot of times when we, us as entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, businesswomen, whatever we don't call ourselves, hustlers, ballers, players, pimps, whatever, we don't like to really think that there's a part of our career where we truly have to be deliberately strategic. And so what was
especially black women at that time, because they couldn't own any property. That I think they just probably started to know if they could vote. They couldn't own bank accounts. That's one of the reasons why Madam C.J. Walker. These women, and I hate to say it, but these
Step
women.
back a little because we can't see your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, they didn't get married because they were in love. They got married as a strategy because they couldn't.
Savant, what's up? We need to get married, boo. Come on. Married as a strategy? Ladies.
Right. Yeah, because they couldn't own anything. They couldn't drive.
Don't y'all call us no gold diggers no damn more. Do tell. I need to know more about this.
And so that is, and then of course, when then you hear of Madam C.J. Walker and you hear of these women at that time getting really horrible divorces because the game was rigged, against them. But in Rose Meta Morgan's case, I think that she came along a lot later than Madam Malone and Madam Walker.
Yes.
Obviously, yes. Madam Walker was deceased by 1919. But in Rose Meta Morgan, she's the height of the Harlem Renaissance. I think her famed, if I'm correct, please check me on that. I think her most famous client was Ethel Waters.
Okay.
Ethel Waters, and just big time, but that the parlor that rivaled those big parlors of Ellen Rubinstein and all of those at Madison Avenue, East Side, Manhattan, big salons, full service. Rose Meta Morgan rivaled. It was absolutely stunning at that time. Yeah, she helped Joe Louis get his restaurant. You guys can Google it. She's all in the pictures with Joe Louis. That's Rose Meta Morgan in the pictures with Joe Louis.
Oh, okay. So Rose Meta, I went to look her up, and you are correct. She definitely was the hairstylist for Ethel Waters, though I don't know who she is. But
Waters is the great jazz, probably before Ma Rainey.
Oh, don't y'all take my black past now. Come on, give it back. Give it back. Give it back. Give it back. Wow. So now you use the word strategic. So can you draw some parallels between your dad? Because of course, your dad wasn't doing hair back then. But do you think your dad was inspired by Mrs. Meta Morgan?
It ironically, his two mentors that were in San Diego, well, three actually were women. And that was his Aunt Geneva, which was a socialite here in San Diego. She was very light skinned. And Ethel, and a woman named Ethel, which was the best friend of my grandmother, which was my mother's mother.
Okay.
And their job was to, and when a young man is especially on the fast track and he's important and he's going places
you forgot good looking. I'm sorry.
And it's the older women's job to walk him through the community and to legitimize him and to introduce him to pastors and bishops and preachers. And if you messed with them old women would get you, because that was their job to protect upwardly mobile people, young people especially. But this my dad was a minister. Yeah,
everybody in the chat like what?
He went to theology school and he wanted to get ordained, I think around 20 something, and they said he was too young, so he decided to go to Barber College.
Wow. Okay. Or any preachers in the house, y'all can come on and do hair. Lord, the Lord wants you over here too. Ain't that right, Dr. Spritz? Okay, so we got some Rose Meta Morgan, and we can see some of the strategies already is taking people with him.
And also, I think she was very different in what he probably definitely inspired to do was that Rose Meta Morgan salons at that time did not have beauty supplies. You didn't have a beauty supply, not really. You had your products you bought your products in the salon. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you couldn't go to Woolworth. You Rexall's. You know, you
wow. Because
go
we wasn't allowed. We wasn't allowed back then. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm with you, Erica. This is a lot. I'm willing to learn a whole lot more. Now this woman here, I have heard a lot about. So we're going to get a little bit more feedback on her and again, a little bit more about your dad. And I'm going to bring up some of his stuff too. So here we go.
All right. So Madam Sarah Spencer Washington is originally from Virginia. So she opens 12 beauty schools, along with opening beauty colleges across the country. She had a publishing company. She had a news and hair company. She had the Apex Laboratories. She had an Apex drugstore. And along with all of those businesses, she bought a farm. He created a home for the elderly. She opened up a school for girls to learn how to be entrepreneurs.
Jesus. I mean,
so you see how much we're doing?
Let me just say this. And I know y'all you act like you went to Africa like 5,000 times. I know I only went one time. But I'm telling you guys, this level of excellence, it is the norm for us.
Absolutely.
I work alongside Dr. Spritz. Do you know everything this lady is talking about that Rose Meta Morgan has? I mean, I'm sorry, that Sarah Spencer Washington has done. Let me just repeat this again. She had 12 beauty colleges, okay, a publishing company. She had, so of course, the newspaper. She had a hair care company, Apex Laboratories, okay. She had a drugstore, a farm, a home, made housing for the elderly, and then a business school for young girls. Do you know Dr. Spritz says this in the salon like every day? I mean, like every day. So again, when you're talking about leveling up your career, and I know when I was in cosmetology school, and sure, maybe you could speak to this a little bit more. And if you know this to be your narrative, then please say me too, a real live me too. But I remember saying like, I wanted to do all types of cool stuff, not like what I'm doing now, but I really wanted to open a salon, teaching people blah, 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 blah. And they told me that I can only do one thing. They would say you can't do everything. They really push this in cosmetology school. Like, don't try to do everything. And so I remember feeling very inferior because I couldn't style hair. And I'm not, people laugh. I'm telling you, I don't know why they asked to be coming to me. But I mean, now Spritz, I'm not trying to be funny. Dude, it's levels out here. I mean, hairstyling is not a joke. And so for me, I felt really, really intimidated. So here's this woman who owned 12 hair salons and schools and all this other stuff. So, hold on. Wait a minute. Sonia said this too. And she did all this without the internet and social media. So we think about your dad. Now, he was very multifaceted. We're talking about a man who invented. Now, these are inventions. I don't know if you guys see that. You see that? The patent, all that stuff is on there. I'm just highlighting some inventions here that Dr. Morrow has. Though this isn't his stuff, but in real life, it kind of looks like this. I do have a picture, and I'm going to show it, but just in case you guys, you can't see it too good. Also mass-produced. I didn't bring his book, but we know he has several books and all types of stuff. So now, your dad and Sarah Spencer Washington has a lot in common. So draw on, put those two together for us. Though she didn't have inventions, I mean, she did have a lab, and she had a drugstore, and she had a school. So put the connection to us with your dad. Did he know anything about Sarah Spencer Washington? Like how? Because I never heard of these people. So how you know all this shit? We ain't know nothing.
Well, you have to remember too. I think the difference, what made Mr. Morrow different, is that he was actually a barber and a hairstylist. When you're talking about Rose Meadow Morgan actually was a hairstylist. Sarah Spencer Washington is in the class of a S.B. Fuller and an Annie Malone. And these were business people, George Johnson, John Johnson, Nathaniel, Anthony Overton, Morgan. So Mr. Gaston, you know, there is a class, or gardeners. All of these dynastic companies didn't always were led and founded by barbers. Mr. Morrow was actually a barber that rose to the C-suite.
And C meaning what is C-suite?
C-suite is your level of executive acumen. Talk chief executive officer, chief financial officer, chief, the C. Anything that is over is called the C-suite.
Oh, did anybody know that? I did not know that. I didn't know that's what C-suite meant. But I see you're using some mighty words like dynastic. Why are you choosing words like dynastic when you're describing these companies?
Well, because we created, you were, let's say Luster or Summit Products, or these companies had a period of time where they owned a particular category and was the sole profiteer of it. And so when you last beyond two decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, then you become, after 25 years, let's just say like Sister Locks surpassed their 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now they are what we call a legacy company. And so I just use dynasty because those dynasties in a particular, Johnson products lasted through the late 40s all the way to, the 90s.
I'm sorry for cutting you off, but does anybody notice that when was the Depression, by the way?
1929.
So are you guys noticing it was bombing like this during the Depression and a pandemic?
Well, you have to remember, Black people weren't in white money. They were segregated. Remember, their money and banks were not backed by the federal government. They didn't have FDIC. They weren't legitimized. Black folks had to do things rogue and separate. And just to prove the point that, you didn't have adoption agencies at that point where Black folks can literally, legally, you just took care of somebody, called them your play cousin or your daughter, and that was it.
Wow.
There was no white laws that legitimized your standards of living or how you culturally did things.
Yeah, because I remember, I could believe that, because when I was growing up, like my mom was married and we had like a step, but we wasn't allowed to say that. Anybody grew up like that? Who told you that your ass ain't grown? That's your sister. That ain't for, So I remember, we took in, family members, and I don't know. I don't even think I even heard of adoption. But anywho,
right.
This is so. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, because the chat is pretty full. So I take it that you're loving what Cheryl is saying. So on this dynasty going past the 25 years, do you think like your dad and these people kind of saw past that, or was it like a hustle, or did they really just strategically like, I'm in this for the overhaul?
Right,
I
right.
mean,
Let's just say, let's just end it, and we can dovetail into that. But Sarah Spencer Washington, she's a vision. See, she's a visionary, not an entrepreneur.
Come on, Prince.
That's why she could create so many different things. S.B. Fuller, visionary and a businessman. They're not going to go into the lab and create anything. They're not going to go and make hardware and design and patents. So every company is not led by the same energy or same person. John Johnson was actually in beauty. Johnson Products, Fashion Fair, they just did the magazine because they were segregated and couldn't do the advertising. They had to do their own models. They couldn't use, they didn't have a modeling agency for Black models. So he had to create that. I don't know if you remember Miss Shepherd, the one who was doing the Apollo, who came out with the Kiki Shepherd. And she was from those years at Johnson Publishing. She was really legendary models in those cigarette commercials, or the liquor commercials, or the food commercials.
I'm just really feeling. I'm losing all types of ghetto passes here, Black passes. So in the chat, because the chat is pretty full, can you guys just take a few moments out and, as a visionary, because now some of these things that you're saying to us, again, I'm going to be honest, I'm speaking for myself. I can really see how I was really suppressed, because if you dream this big, you know, they would be like, hey, your ass can't save the world. You know, do one thing. But I see some words: dynastic, strategic, visionary. So in the chat, share with us some of your big dreams beyond what. Let's say you're a manager or you're a hairstylist, or wherever you're at in your career, drop in the chat a vision that you may see for yourself, because I'm telling you right now, Sarah Spencer Washington was some visionary. And like I said, I think about my colleague, Dr. Spritz, who has really big dreams. And I think a lot of times we don't think these things are possible. And people do look at you like you're crazy, because I'm telling you, when I'm out working and they'll say, Ladosha has her own books, her own hair care products. She's this, people be looking at me like, go sit your little ass down somewhere. And I'll be like, people make you feel bad though. So how did your dad navigate with all of this stuff? Because I'm sure he heard that too. And as people are typing their visions,
No, it was expected.
What?
See, you have to understand. I want you to understand the other option. The other option is and you talk about, most of these people are Southern. Okay. And like Sylvia Woods, South Carolina, she goes up to Harlem, and now she has one of the most famous soul food restaurants in Harlem called Sylvia's. Right? When you have to understand that when you either have a wash floor, a maid, or you have a cotton sack, what are your choices? You don't have any choice. And so they were performing, they were expected. And let me say this to you though. The baby booming generation and the silent generation, they're called that because their job was to get Black people on the board. They literally lifted Black America, and I always say a country inside of a country, because we were segregated. We are a nation inside of a nation. So we didn't have a choice to be able, and this is the foundation of tonight's subject. It's called elevation, expansion. And it's really peculiar that our ancestors don't have the degrees. But we go to degrees and we go to colleges, right? And we look to learn how to expand from our white classmen, our Steve Jobs and our this and our that or this. But even before Steve Jobs, you had an Anthony Overton. You had a Mr. Tyler, Barber colleges. You had an Annie Malone that at the point of the World's Fair in 1929, she had over 100,000 Asians. I don't think that rivaled Xerox at that time. I mean, you're talking about an incredible, and like the young lady mentioned, without, with inside Jim Crow, let alone social media and the internet. Jim Crow.
Wow. Yeah.
So you are talking about tremendous lifting, heavy lifting.
And you see, and we also, right, I'm sorry for cutting you off. And we also see how, you know, in the spirit of manifesting, you know, our ancestors, boy, they really saw something, and they said, we're going to leave the how to God, and we're going to do what we need to do. So here's one of our favorites. Everybody knows all this stuff about Madam C.J. Walker, but we have to show Madam C.J. Walker because she is the most notable. Everybody aspires Madam C.J. Walker. So maybe you can give us a backdrop, and we got 2 more, and then we're going to get over to your dad. All right, so stick with us, guys. We're doing pretty good here. Here we go.
The nappy-headed blues. According to the song, my hair is can't you, don't you? You can't comb it, don't you try. Nappy, that's the reason why. In those days, nappy hair was considered a problem by just about everyone, except Madam C.J. Walker. She was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867 to slaves newly freed by the Civil War. Dreamed, she said, of a magic formula that would solve those nappy-headed blues. For Madam C.J. Walker, these nappy heads would become her fortune.
All right, so she got her, here we go again, vision. So she said that her recipes and everything kind of came to her. It was a gift from God. And so what, you know how they say, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. So she took something that was really nothing, which was our hair, and said, you know what, I could take this to another level. But when you watch that Netflix, it looks like, you know, Annie Turnbo-Malone was very jealous of her. So we have to kind of clear some of this up. Now we're still going to get to Dr. Morrow, but I want you guys to hear what was it, because people believe that. Now I've never read that, but people believe that Annie Turnbo-Malone and Madam C.J. Walker had some beef. God dang it, that Cheryl.
But you have to remember. Remember, Annie Malone died 9 years before I was born, and you were born. That was well into her late 80s. Madam C.J. Walker died in 1919. So you have to make sure that you understand whose story are they telling.
Cheryl.
She didn't live long enough for that kind of impressionistic story. And I think it's written more about Lilia than, because she was not a millionaire in her lifetime. Not Madam C.J. Walker.
What? Hold on, y'all. The chat. We crookeds now. Sure, we got to take this in.
No, seriously.
Now, come on now, Cheryl. Come on now, man.
Yeah. Well, and you have to think about it. The woman who educated her. Now, her name is Sarah Breedlove. How did it change?
Madam, I don't know. Does anybody in the chat, a little trivia?
And let me just say this. Annie Turnbo-Malone did not wear the title Madam.
Right. I see Madam Sarah Spencer Washington. She
None of
did.
them. None of them did. Madame, because of the French influence, it was another name because these women started out single, and they only married for the rights to do business because you couldn't get a bank loan, you couldn't buy a car, you couldn't even get a driver's license. You
That's
couldn't
so
do.
funny because when you hear the story of Madam C.J. Walker, they talk about her husband just, philandering women. And, all of us today and all of our accoutrements, our little Chanels and all that. I hate it on me. And so it meant something totally different back then. Sonia says something very powerful in the chat. Here we go. Those in power will write the narrative that they want you to know. And boy, did I learn the hard way. That's how I met Cheryl, because I was spewing some narratives. You can look through some of my old videos. I don't take them down for a reason. Because were of course good, but they were still wrong. And so I have to correct some things too. But how do we grapple with?
And let me just say this: I don't think white people wrote her story. Black folks was lying.
You know what? Okay, Hair Savant, get your oracle.
Right. No white person is deemed Madam C.J. Walker or Sarah Breedlove. She married the Walker name so she could have. That was just because, of course, that was not Alilia's father. And even to this day, there is no living, real heir to a Walker or a Breedlove.
Now, Cheryl, hold on now.
Well, let me just say this. That's why Richelieu Dennis could buy it. And you still can't buy the estate. It belongs to the Indiana Society, the library. There's no heir that can shut it down. Because there's no real, that's just a married name. It's no relation. Alelia Walker was same-sex gender loving, and she didn't have any children. And so
right, so who was Alelia then? Wasn't she? Didn't Madam C.J. Walker have a daughter?
No, Madam C.J. Walker had a natural daughter, but she's a Breedlove, not a Walker.
Y'all know what? We gotta.
She's not a daughter. She had her daughter long before she met any man named C.J. Walker. We don't even know who C.J. Walker is. You never met him. In fact, I think she was actually in love with. She's all in her estate. There is pictures of Booker T. Washington everywhere, and thought maybe and that's just my guesstimation. I think they had a love affair.
Oh, we getting the tea. Hold on, AJ. Wait a minute. Okay, we gonna get on. Wait a minute, y'all. Hold on. AJ is saying something that I was not aware. She says Madam Walker's magic formula is like Miss Cheryl has discussed about the animal husbandry. She basically used pine tar because that's what they use on the farm, and it worked. Okay, Miss AJ, somebody in Cheryl's class, which is, by the way, it's available Monday. We're learning a lot from Cheryl. So let's see a little bit more about Madam C.J. Walker. Here we go, Cheryl.
She followed not an uncommon tradition among America's moneyed families. The first generation earns, the second generation spends.
Alelia, the daughter, Madam Walker's daughter, was young. She'd had everything at her fingertips. She was bound to be different. She couldn't have been just like Madam Walker. Madam Walker came from scratch with an idea and a dream and all of that. She worked her way up. Alelia was given everything, every opportunity. You wouldn't expect her to be like her mother in that respect.
And of course,
and I think that is the reason why Madam C.J. Walker is written impressionistically, because it's about the life of Aurelia, not Madam.
Wow. And can you tell us who the lady that was giving the narrative that was? Because I know you know who she is.
Oh yeah, that is
the wonderful.
Yeah, the wonderful Marjorie Joyner.
Everybody should. Yeah, please know who she is.
Yeah, she's the one that gave us gave cosmetology a electrical permanent wave machine. That's her patent.
Right. And you should also know that when you buy this book, Styling Jim Crow, it was she in 1923 in Chicago, Illinois. She was the first person to push that cosmetology curriculum. So it's right here. Don't cook it up. Look it up for real. This woman, she was she was about that life. So
if anybody kind of inspired Mr. Morrow, it probably would be Marjorie.
And how was that?
Marjorie was an engineer. Marjorie was a mathematician, a tomboy. Really, her best friend was Mary McLeod Bethune. And let me just say this. If I am not thankful for anything, I am more thankful for that I had the disposition to always want to be around my dad and listen. Miss Marjorie came to the office. I think I shared those pictures with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so amazed that one woman could tell my dad to shut the hell up. I loved it. I mean, because he would, because she was at his business here in San Diego, and Mr. Morrow would forget that Marjorie Joyner was in the room where she would be talking. She'd always look back and say, "You talk too much. Willie, be quiet."
So your dad was inspired by
she built things. She was really the engine. Oh yeah, she was really the engine behind SB Ransom. And after the death of the untimely death, she was in her 30s, or maybe late 30s when she passed and transitioned and became an ancestor. So Marjorie really stepped in.
Okay. All right. Okay, we got one last clip here. Here we go.
The complex of Poro College in St. Louis was very substantial, consisting of Malone's business offices, the manufacturing operation for her products, classrooms, training centers for staff, laboratories, an auditorium and conference center, dormitories, guest rooms, and a warehouse and shipping center. As such, it became the main center for the production and shipping of Malone's hair care and beauty products. This was a franchise business. Malone was way ahead of her time in integrating Poro College into the community and making it a place where workers had the best of services available to them. As well as being a community outreach center, the college had a smoking parlor, cafeteria, dining rooms, a bakery, medical center, laundry services, an on-site seamstress, and even an ice cream parlor, gym, and roof garden. This was a forerunner of the kind of campuses which Apple and Google were to build out in California.
Oh yeah. Wow! Now that you put the Madam C.J. Walker narrative next to Annie Turnbo-Malone, it is. I don't know about you guys in the chat, but are you starting to think a little bit differently now? I mean, Jesus Christ!
Madam Malone was a tycoon. The other women were business enterprising, and they were quite
successful. Difference? Can you give us a difference between a tycoon and an enterprise? I don't know, guys.
Put it this way. Madam Malone, when she wanted to show off her wealth and this came from, I mean, years of sitting. No, I wouldn't say years. Maybe two. With I call her the ghost of Annie Malone, but Olivia Blackamore out of Maryland. We would sit on the phone for hours and just talking about this stuff. And she was really a Annie Malone scholar. But anyway, there are documents in my archives where Manny Malone would go to certain events, but to show her might and power, sometimes she would have her relatives and maybe her two nieces, right? And she would want them to go in separate limousines, not the same one. Like we're all going to the same place, but I want you to get in your limo and I'll get in mine and you get in yours. She owned all three of them, but she would just to show how rich and powerful. But Manny Malone was a scholar. She was a quiet scholar woman. She was not robust. And let me just say this. The LeBron and company and Netflix and their research team had plenty of time to get that story right. They fucked it up anyway. And I don't know why they did, because they reached out to me, bought the book, and we talked, and I told them, come on, guys, don't screw it up. And lo and behold, so Annie Malone was very meek, very self-contained, but she was a scholar and a tycoon, which means that she was in the same class of a Carnegie.
Now, Dr. Spritz talks about, I heard them mention it, but I couldn't find it. But I hear Dr. Spritz talk about that Annie Turnbo-Malone, I guess at the top of her building, she had like a botanical, for lack of better words, like a garden where she would, use this to distill and make stuff. Is that part true, that she had all this stuff inside, one of her establishments?
It could very well be. But there was a manufacturing process, which is in her book, and those pictures are that can be Googled. But one of the things that Madam C.J. Walker came to a school with products. That was not something she created. That was already basically there. And the only reason why we know that there was some sort of beef is the timely her filing for trademarks where she had none, and it was at the basic time table.
Wait a minute, hold on. Wait a minute, something ain't right. I'm sorry, guys. So wait a minute, because this is what AJ. So that goes back to what AJ was saying. So this, and I'm not saying this is the recipe, guys, but for lack of better words. So let's just say, AJ, this pine tar recipe, okay? This was a generic recipe.
Right. Now you have to remember, I want you guys to make sense of this. You have to remember, no one taught them anything. These are not college educated chemists. So they were coming from, and how many times do I tell you guys how important plantation beauty in the historic sense of how mighty these people were. These were geniuses. These were genius people. Yeah. They were not ignorant. Okay, so they couldn't speak English, but that is a white Western way of looking at things, because people don't speak English. You must be ignorant. And that's how we look at people who speak Spanish or Italian or any other Gullah or any other language if we don't speak, English.
Yeah, if we say mama and them and this and that.
Or yeah, and then of course somebody will gaslight you and say you're speaking Ebonics and make you feel bad about it.
Yeah, you'll be ill.
So but Poro College was a hotel, and tell
us about the name. So tell us about the name Poro.
It's West African for a secret women's society, a women's communal, matriarchal, matrilineal society of women.
So wait, these sisters was on some Africanity. She was on that too.
But what other education if she wasn't able to see? And that's one of the issues that I have with the natural hair care movement. The natural hair movement keep telling us that these people were trying to be white. That is so preposterous. These women wanted to move your economic essence, your spirit from a slave to make sure that you change the paradigm of your consciousness so you can be a businesswoman. That's what these women were trying to do. They understood that you had a mentality that was parlayed and designed to keep you in servitude. And so that's why they put beauty queens in Ethiopia and Queen of Sheba and all of these glamorous Black women in their ads. I think that there's
so freaking powerful. Come on, y'all.
There was only one cartoonist that I think both of them used, but Annie Malone used him first. It was a C. Watson, and his name is at the bottom of those advertisements, but they used African queens and African presence and African glamour and African gorgeousness, and of course that was at the time when Elizabeth Taylor was playing Cleopatra, but you're not and if you don't get the right narrative from the right person. See, my interest, and like I was telling some folks that were dealing with that relaxer story of cancer, you have to check the interest of the person educating you. What is my interest? What interest do I have in making you smart? What is my interest in doing that? And if I don't have an interest, and if my interest is to steal your industry, then I will tell you what you're doing is awful and bad, and I'm here to save you with this information, and you should not do that. And see, that's going to get you in trouble because you feel that you need saving. Well, yeah, they need saving. They need your savings. They need your money. And so, yeah, and the two most, the graduates? George Clinton and Chuck Berry, I think it's the two most famous graduates of Poro.
What? The Parliament, George Clinton?
Yeah, he graduated from Poro College.
Good Lord have mercy. Let me just tell you guys, here is what you must do right now. The chat is clearly on fire. We appreciate every single person in the chat. If we got all the people in the chat, we need every single person right now. If you could be so kind to do this.
And you can only get this stuff through conversation, Ladosha. You have to talk to your ancestors. You got to talk to people. And let me just say this. There is a fabulous historian, and she's a fabulous white lady. And she loves the Malone agency. But I will say this. The song, "Oh Precious Lord," was written at Poro College.
Goodness. Man, this is the best podcast. Listen, guys, we need to get this page up. We need to get this platform. Come on, y'all. This is some seriously good stuff. If everybody could just go out and ask two friends, just getting you guys phones and spread the love. This is how it's going down. I'm with you, Dewey. Yes, exactly. Now it's time for some Dr. Morrow. Now we see what we think It's just so extraordinary. Come to find out, it's really ordinary. So because we ain't gonna try to keep y'all all night, but we have to go here. What's up, Tamika Hillary? I'm with you. This is a wow moment. Yeah. I did not know this. Okay, now everybody knows this. George Clinton was a barber before. AJ, we need to talk to you, AJ, because you know some things, girl. You dropping some jewels too. Hey, everybody, let's take a moment out and let's drop AJ in the chat. AJ has been our resident historian, so we're gonna drop some AJ. Y'all know what I say? Up in the Bronx where the people was fresh. It was Run DJ and he passed the test. He was down below and he was ready to play. That's right, y'all. His name is AJ. So I don't know, AJ doesn't look like a guy on there. So let's get started with your dad. All right, come on, Hair Savant. We gonna give it up for you too, because you called her the hair oracle, and I think you must have really known something. We are so excited to come to the class on Monday. Remember, this class on Monday is this Monday. Hey, we're not selling y'all stuff. This is not a trade show, no expos. Bring your ink pen. It's like LL. You want to hit, give me an hour plus a pen and a pad, and she's going to lecture us. But let's get started with your dad. Let's start off. Now, I've got some perm here, and you sent me some images over here. Now, people... I've heard some mean, nasty things about, the cold wave, the cream, and, all of this stuff that messed up Black people. That's why we don't love ourselves. How did your father come up with the California curl? Because we want to know, we want to hear from the horse's mouth. How did he come up? Was he trying to be white? First things first.
Okay. Was he trying to be white?
Was he trying to be white?
Okay, well, what was Duke Ellington trying to be white? Was Nat King Cole trying to be white? Was James Brown trying to be white?
You talking about say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud?
No, were all those men who straighten their hair, were they trying to be white?
In the chat, hold on, before we go any further. Now you might be watching this
Calloway.
Post a line.
Calloway trying to be white?
Do you think that any of those people, oh, wait a minute, before y'all answer it, hold on, my boss just came through. We cannot go without doing what? Hit it, Cheryl. Come on, Hair Savant. My boss that came through, drop y'all L's in the chat, because she likes to know that I'm working. There we go. My boss, Lavina Joseph, is in the chat, and she just checking on me. Here I am, boss, doing what you told me to do, and that's show up for work, show on time, and show it out. So do we think that those men were trying to be white?
Was it Temptations? Were the Temptations trying to be white? Jackie Wilson?
When they trying to look like...
But I understand it. Why would women straighten their hair? Why are they trying to be white? But men... straighten their hair. They weren't. You had Negro League baseball players straighten their hair. They did it 25 years before Black women ever did it.
That's a good one. Hold on. I wasn't ready. How can we try to be something that came from us in the first place? That part right there, y'all. Come on, BRJ. I mean, Jesus. Okay. So it's
it's called chemistry. It's called style. It's called we got it like that. We can do
now,
that.
I ain't gonna say no name because I gotta be respectful of these folks. But the term that I read in the book was that when our ancestors were doing these things, altering their hair with chemicals and using hot combs and whatnot. What I was told, when you use this kind of stuff and you pick up that hot comb and you do your hair like Ladosha's, you are doing what's called acculturation. So how do you explain that acculturating? And because that's a school.
I already told you guys, stop saying that dumb shit. I told you to stop saying it. I already told you, and you can check. In fact, his name is Dr. Kieta.
Hold on. I'm looking it up. Dr. Kieta.
Dr. Soy Kieta.
Oh, is this not Nigel? Oh, hold on.
Dr. Soy.
S-O-Y?
S-O-Y. Well, it's S.O.Y.
Wait a minute. S.O.
Keita.
Wait a minute.
I forgot how to pronounce his first name.
S.O.I.
Y.
Oh, Y.
Kieta. Keita. He is probably the greatest anthropologist, historian, geneticist, African.
Here we go. Oh, okay. Jesus. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. Let me pull him up. Jesus, Cheryl, you just oh, good Lordy. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. I got to share this, y'all. Just don't fall asleep yet. Dang it, Cheryl. Jesus. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. Hold on. I'm getting a little excited here. Got to hold my panties. Hold on. Wait a minute. Share the screen. Hold on. Here we go. Y'all better write this name down, y'all. For real, for real. We learning something. S.O. Soy Kieta. He is, let me go back here. This guy, Jesus Christ.
Shomarka. I forgot how to pronounce his first name, but it's Dr. Shomarka Kieta. I'm going to tell you right now. He says it profane. He does not mince his words. He is probably, besides Dr. Charles Finch.
Hold on, wait a minute. He is a medical doctor, bioanthropologist, and research affiliate from the Smithsonian Museums. Jesus Christ, this guy is off the Richter scale.
Yes. And what I would like to say, okay, it's very important.
Okay,
it's very important, right?
Right.
Every phenotypical feature, trait, size, color, texture came out of the continent first. White folks do not have a monopoly or a license, or white folks did not invent, or there was not a white person who just has to have straight hair. Straight hair is not exclusive to white people. You are dealing with racism. That is a racist thought to only connect white people. Black people have, Ethiopians have, or Madras Indians. They're dark as midnight. But Africa gives its human children what they should have, why they should have it. If they want to give you light skin, it'll give you really super coily hair. It will give you dark skin and straight hair. It will give you big lips, thin nose, blue eyes. It is the marker of Mother Africa.
So your father inventing this, you're saying
was to create commerce, capitalism, money, prosperity. You see that on professional use only. Mr. Morrow never the word I'm looking for is cannibalized his industry. He creates things to feed into the industrial process so hairstylists can be at the top of the food chain in every level of beauty. That's why he created it, because he wanted to make sure that we had services and techniques and things that were exclusive to the salon arena, that everybody had to come to you. And in the period of 1950 to 1991, Nah,
But
97.
how did he come up with this thioglycolate? That's what this
Thioglycolic acid.
excuse me, I'm sorry. Say it again.
Thioglycolic acid.
Thioglycolic acid.
He did not invent permanent wave lotion. White people were using, Germans were using permanent wave lotion in 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Okay.
What he did out of the Afro world, the curl, cream, cold wave came out of the military years. There's a picture you have that I gave you. He has a blow dryer in his hand while he was traveling and teaching the science of cutting and shaving Afro Black men and women's hair. He would take time to create and invent. That's what that blow dryer. But he was making waves for the blowout. The blowout was the cream cold wave portion to make the afro larger and lighter and wavier and like really airy. So that dovetailed into him rolling it. So now you had a very soft afro with the wet set, right? That dovetailed into him coming back to Los Angeles. Now this is his natural products because these were the 60s, okay, that you're seeing there. But he understood that the Afro never integrated the salon. The salon Black people who had the license needed something of their own. So what he created, he went to Los Angeles on Cahuenga Boulevard to study under Bob Maddox. In the natural world, his mentor and chemistry teacher was Dr. Curtis, Austin Curtis. You guys see Dr. Austin Curtis when you guys go to YouTube and you see that protege standing always next to George Washington Carver. That's Dr. Austin Curtis. Dr. Austin Curtis went into the beauty world because he took Dr. Carver's formulas and him being a chemist, and then that he taught Dr. Morrow how to cut molecules, how to talk to plants and how to extract plants, how to do all that stuff, how to garden, how to get, I know really, no, literally. But that dovetailed into Mr. Morrow teaching me. So you have Carver, Curtis, Morrow. The point is that is how you go ahead and you pass that on.
Right.
But
so wait a minute. So now
the California curl went from a wet set because the natural hair, the afro never integrated cosmetology because they didn't accept it. But what
Wait, hold on, back up. You moving too fast. What you talking about, Willis? You mean to tell me hairstylists? Let
me just say this. Cosmetology does have an Achilles heel because the Black barbers in Black barbershops integrated the Afro movement, the Afro comb, Afro sheen, Afro grease, Afro spray, all of that. That never touched cosmetology. So that's why today you have a void. And let me just say this. Cosmetology never learned how to do Black hair because they missed the Afro era. And they went straight to permanent. They went straight from press and curl to relaxer. That is why you have that big gap in cosmetology now. And I'm not going to say that the natural hair care is not correct. Because Black cosmetology never embraced true Afro-ness. And that's what we're doing in the state of Ohio and why we're doing the Afro Hair Science Summit in the first goddamn place, you know? And so California Curl was to give hairstylists an opportunity to become rich. Because what were they going to do? Press and curl forever? and relaxer had not really advanced. And so he wanted to take us back. He didn't want us to go from the afro all the way to straight. He wanted us to have the curl patterns and all the things, but he also wanted to create a service that could be nicely priced and to enrich billions of dollars into the salon.
Right now we don't see this. I'm going to be honest. So I'm deliberately picking out the words. So now this is what I'm hearing, and I hope you guys will go back and watch this again so that you can be inspired about how to level up your career, because this man was undeniably unselfish. He deliberately did this not only to make sure we keep intact the afro, but to advance our economic opportunities, our ability to use our science, our business acumen, our spiritual connections. He did all this through in the spirit of dynasty, being very strategic, most certainly tycoonish, with a sense of enterprise, very, very visionary, nationhood, without a doubt. He changed the paradigm of our consciousness, just like the other people who was doing this beforehand.
Absolutely.
Again, we have to change the narrative. So moving over to the pick. So what made your dad mass produce the pick?
Because once again, Black people needed an economy. We didn't have an economy. All we had was philosophy and religion. We didn't have shit, that cotton sack shit. That's why and y'all don't understand. Every time you came in Mr. Morrow's office, you came under, you went in and you went out under real, authentic, used cotton sacks. And I don't know if you guys have seen a real authentic cotton sack. They were about 12 feet long. And that bag had to be full by the end of the day. That's how hard your ancestors worked. Because I can tell you right now, my generation, your generation, Ladosha, the other ones on this chat, and the ones after you, they would have never conceived how the imagination of how much work it takes to fill a cotton sack. So my point is, he created the comb because we needed a way, because nothing happens in the world until something is sold. We had to get into the product game. We had to get into the commodities game. And more than our lightness, we had to be more than just big lips and nappy hair on a tobacco jar or smiling on a box. We had to make things. We had to get into capitalism instead of us being the capital. And whatever mental consciousness that needed to shift, it was a major shift.
Okay, but take us on the level up now. We getting deep because the chat, y'all still rocking it with us. So we gonna rock it with y'all a few more minutes. It's getting a little late here now, but hold on. But now you keep saying that he did this for us.
Mm-hmm.
What would make him? I mean, why would he want? I mean, I'm sorry.
Let's just say this. Because, of course, he was a father, and then he was a son. So he understood, because first of all, my father started in jewelry. He went from ministry to barbering, and then he created a symbol, a trademark, the United States inside of the Africa. Okay? And that was his, and then and you saw it on the products in that photograph. It was, and then he later changed it. Now, one thing that Mr. Morrow was amazing, that one of my favorite amazing things, is that he had the vision of putting his name in the actual vinyl of the combs. No other person actually put their name in their own molds. And the reason why he did that is because there is no other Black person's name on a actual tool in beauty in planet Earth. There is no other name. He understood that because he wanted you to understand that when you buy something, if that is not a Black person's name there, don't goddamn buy it. In the day, when you take that Afro comb out of that bag and you don't have no name on it, you don't know if a Jewish person made it, a white boy made it, and you keep buying that comb, right?
Let me just show you guys right quick. So when you come to the Rebels Design Team Hair Salon, you will get the comb. There is Dr. Willie Morrow's signature, okay? Wrapped. I would keep this. I would not throw it away, okay? And it's wrapped. And here is a patented comb. Now you tell us, and it's got its name. There you can see it. There's the okay. There you go. Now, what made your father? How in the ham sandwich would he patent a comb? So
because he wanted it, the patent to say this comb. Therefore, this comb here lies a comb that is designed exclusively for Black people's hair. That's what he wanted that patent to say. That was very important for him to understand. That something that was patented by the U.S. Commerce and Patent Office that was not designed for any other people but his people, period. That was important to him.
Okay, I will see now. Some people may not think he has a real live patent, but here it is.
Really?
I'm gonna share the screen because I know people like, where's the source? We're scholars, we're academics. You know, I want to know. I want to see the source. So here we go. Here is the source. Did this man really patent this comb? Let me share this screen.
He patented everything.
There it is. Hair twisting. This is the Dr. Willie Morrow's cool stuff here. You say he patented everything. Okay, so here, let me go back. He got the combs and all that. Oh, some other images here. Sorry, guys, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's another.
That's another patent. So he has several patents, Cheryl? Several patents. Okay. Here's another.
I don't know what that one is.
Hold on. Download. Sorry, guys. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Well, that I think that is all of the subsequent combs.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that one. It takes a lot for me to keep up with all that.
But that's he's got all of the a comb, a spine, plurality. Did he write all this stuff up? Jesus Christ. He wrote all this stuff.
I'm sure he had someone to help him. He always had a secretary, but I think it was extremely important for him to be able to create something designed around Afro-textured hair, and it was extremely important. Then he went into from jewelry to combs, then to books. And let me just say this. The leveling up process is about expanding your career to the point where you stay in your career. Stay in your career. You don't necessarily have to go out. You can elevate to a magazine publisher. You can expand, into a tool design. And let me just say this. One of the reasons why I wanted to retire early, right? And the reason why I wanted to retire early was because I like salon design, right? And I'm into designing towels, and I love designing capes. I love designing flooring. I love designing a stage. And so my salon concepts in terms of design, which we're going to really map out in 2024, that's what I like to do, because the salon world is not built by cosmetologists. It's built by plumbers. So there's a lot of opportunity to be able to elevate into salon design. And there's just so much room, but we don't talk about it. We just talk about, because Mr. Morrow didn't cut hair about 7 years. People don't know that he didn't cut long. So you don't want to get stuck in the technical part of your career to the point where you stay so long that you can't leave. And I know that beauty school does not teach you that.
They don't push that. Now, my brother is in the chat, and he's saying that if you mention this chat you get one of these combs.
Oh,
So
that's right.
Esther, we know you can afford it because I can buy one. But Esther was the one who kind of brought it up. So Esther, please email me at ladoshaw@yahoo.com, and you will get your Dr. Willie Morrow's patented. What's the technical name for the comb?
This is that is the unbreakable Willie Morrow now.
Okay, so this is the unbreakable Dr. Willie Morrow nozzle. So if you guys share this chat or this post, this podcast, with your friends, and then let us know, then we're going to make sure you get one of these compliments of my brother. Before we wrap it up, another invention that your father came up was this baby right here. Mm-hmm. So tell us about the hardware tool here, this cone, this massage brush. Tell us a little bit about this one right quick before we wrap it up.
Well, the ingenious, let me just say this, and I want to make this very clear. Mr. Morrow studies African architecture. And inside African architecture is the most amazing symmetry, utility, and beauty. And so those teeth are cone teeth. And when teeth have a point, that is for insertion, and then as the base gets wider, that is for the parting of the hair.
That's this here, right?
Right. Well, no, I'm talking about the cone, the cone shape.
Okay.
The reason why those cone teeth are shaped like a pyramid, so the tip inserts inside your hair, and then as the hair gets to reach the base of your scalp, because the teeth are wide at the base, it's for easy combing because the hair goes through the wide part of the
all right, so you guys can kind of see that. And this is a massage, and we're selling these like hot cakes, and the guests love it. It feels good. Talk about this one right here, talking about Dr. Spritz can testify.
Right. That is actually under my tenure as CEO. I decided to make a brand of that particular patent out of hemp. So I give a lot of vegan, hairstylists who doesn't like plastics, but that is a hemp version. And so
now, let me just say this about this comp. Okay, Tamika Hillary says she just. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, bro, that was a good one. Thank you so much, Tamika. Please email me at Ladosha W. I did drop it in the chat at yahoo.com, and you're going to get your free Dr. Willie Morrow blow dry unbreakable. I'm sorry, unbreakable. Or if you want one of what are these combs called?
No, the Easy Teas. Willie Morrow Easy
Teas. Or if you want the Easy Teas, then you can select this one either or. My brother's paying for it, so it don't matter. But let me just tell you guys this about this comb. Now, when we left the Afro Hair Summit in July, Cheryl had all the stuff. It was like, oh my God, we got these combs, right? And so we went to comb the Afro hair with this, and the recoil was like, I'm not making this up, y'all. Everybody in the salon, it was like, did you see that shit? I know y'all like Ladosha. You brown nosing, sure. I do know how to brown nose, but I'm not brown nosing the hair oracle. I'm telling you, when you comb that Afro hair with this, no words can describe what this would do to that Afro. I mean, the recoil, I mean, unbelievable. And then this right here, you know how you always trying to part the hair. Now we got those little stupid rat tail combs. Watch this, y'all. Just watch this hair savant. Just watch this right quick. Here we go, y'all. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. It's backwards in here. Okay, there we go. Pull this. I'm going the wrong way. I hope you guys can see how it really. Look at that. I mean, the part is like straight, like, oh, which way is my hand going? This way.
I know it's opposite in the camera.
Yeah, it's opposite. It's opposite. I'm telling you guys, it's unbelievable. A perfect part is what you get no matter how you pull this baby. Look at this. And we're always struggling. Like, how do we part this hair? We got all these different combs. I don't care how thick the hair is. I'm not trying to sell you guys, but baby, I'm telling you right now, this is the whippity snap. And it gets in there. It doesn't hurt. It feels like really, really good. It's just a really, really, really nice, very, very nice comb. The hair, it makes it easier to manage. I don't know, but I'm telling you, in the salon, when we tried this thing, it was like unbelievable, and it sells itself. So remember, this is his legacy, is that he's trying to make sure that we can have a better business. And we're always sending people over to the supply stores, but you can sell these in your barbershop or hair salon. But if you share the show, like Shan said, you'll get one for free. So there you have it. All right. So Cheryl, we have been on here for almost 2 hours. So that means that you are doing very good. How much? Not everybody wants that comb. All right.
Make sure you guys comb pink for breast cancer month.
Okay. Now, they said if you don't come to the Afro Hair Summit, these are going to be for sale. We're going to put them on our Afro Hair Summit link. And the pink, though, is only available through October, correct?
Well, I mean, you guys can celebrate, but I want you to represent, and I want us to show our strength when we galvanize around a cause. There is nobody who does it like hairstylists and barbers. When we comb pink, we comb red, we comb blue for prostate cancer. We are down. We are the community's #1 humanitarian. We are hairstylists. We are hair bar. We are in charge. The doctors and the shamans over the essence of beauty.
She wants to know, is this metal? Can you tell them?
That's hemp.
Hemp, as in weed hemp?
As in hemp. As in Alabama's and California's #1 cash crop in the world. The crop, the plant that gives us flooring, that gives us heat, that gives us everything. That is 100% hemp.
100% hemp. Nice for all you vegans, people who don't like stuff, user-friendly to the planet, all that. Or if you're just like me, you just want to be cute.
Yeah, so that's the comb we use when we want to celebrate Earth Day.
All right, so there, and it does. Look at my hair. Look at my hair. So you guys don't be feeling bad about altering your hair and all that. Miss Esther says she's seen another comb. I don't know, called, I can't pronounce it, Casimir or whatever, and they trying to do something like that, and they probably have been watching Dr. Morrow's, looking at his stuff. But remember, he's got the patent for this stuff. So there you have it. You can level up your career. You have to be a visionary. This man did so many wonderful things. And of course, I do keep this clip on deck here because I just think it's really important that we never forget this.
Leaders recognized that PX stock was aimed primarily at white soldiers and their families, and that many black soldiers and their families felt ignored. They felt like they were not being treated as full members in the Army. The shelves on PXs were filled with shampoos that promised to bring out the natural highlights and the softness of hair. That wasn't welcoming. So they solved the problem that was within their sphere. The first thing they did was to identify a, quote, urgent requirement to improve hair cutting for black customers, afros. They located a black barber from San Francisco who had written about styling black hair, and they sent him traveling around U.S. military installations, Army installations all over the world. He spent 3 weeks in Germany and England, where he taught 750 barbers and 300 beauticians. And then he did a 40-day whirlwind tour of Alaska, Hawaii, and Southeast Asia. He taught barbers how to cut black hair. This is him teaching barbers in Tokyo. I gave this a version of this talk in Tokyo in January, and had a lot of requests for copies of this photograph. Afros, yeah, you know, they're sort of modified, but at least they were teaching the proper tools and techniques, and they were guaranteeing that they wouldn't be charged more for afros than white soldiers were charged for regulation haircuts. It wasn't going to be a specialty haircut. It was just a haircut.
Beautiful. Wow.
I could watch this like 1,000 times. And for people who are always like, what's the source? The source is none other than Dr. Beth Bailey. Please go look her up. You guys understand what this woman just said. She says she travels around the world and that photograph is in high demand. Personally, I think every barber salon, every hair salon, barbershop, we should have that in our place of business. But this just goes to show you, Cheryl says this over and over and over again. She says, we have done this before. The Afro Hair Science Summit is going to be this Monday. The curly hair bill that we are working on with State Representative Elliott Forehand with the support of former Ohio Senator Shirley Smith, it's not a joke. We are going to do this. Dr. Willie Morrow, he did this by himself. So if he can teach the world, best believe Cheryl can teach a state. And so we need you all support. So when we get ready to roll this out, please don't be shy. Be very generous in helping us get the word out that we're going to take his teachings
all around
from
the world.
Ohio to around the world, but we will need you guys' support because Dr. Willie Morrow, I mean, this man is phenomenal. If you have watched this in its entirety, which I see the chat never got small, so we appreciate you all so much. I mean, you rocked it out for 2 hours. I think it was Sonia Salam who said we all need to just go to Cheryl Morrow University. I'm kind of starting to feel that way, but you should be inspired that you can level up your career. You don't have to just do hair, and I hope you guys also realize that he did this for us to take us beyond our status quo by leveling up what we can do by way of making money. And so the words that I picked up again was dynastic. We can change the narrative, but we have to be strategic. Understand you're going to have an element of just this tycoonish, right? For sure, of enterprise. You're going to be a visionary. You'll never forget nationhood. These are all the things that we've learned from all of these people. And then we saw that Dr. Willie Morrow was definitely able to do this via changing the paradigm of our consciousness. And then last but not least, I have to show this young woman because she did something wonderful. And I think people just need to know in the 1980s, this woman did this.
Did you know Theora Stevens is credited with improving curling irons? Her 1980s patent revolutionized hair twirling techniques. And it all stemmed from her being a hairdresser herself. Stevens simply wanted to improve outdated curling techniques. Her designs closely resemble the irons we know and love today, featuring a spring to press and hold curls for easy styling and longer lasting results. But never forget, the concept comes from this Black woman who designed with our tresses in mind.
Talking 1980s, so that's Miss Theora Stevens. If you're using the spring or thumb grip, you want to credit that to an African-American hairstylist, and we hope that you all will be inspired to level up your game from behind the chair to do all types of wonderful things. And we have Dr. Willie Morrow in modern day times. I don't think anything has happened since the perm, right? So if there is something that you want to create by way of chemicals, should people be afraid of what they are saying about chemicals and altering hair? Should we just run away from altering this hair altogether with chemicals? Is it okay to dream big?
Absolutely. I do think that tomorrow's chemists are in HBCUs. They're in college. They're in the salons. They're us. And no one, but see, the problem with today's celebrity hairstylists or anyone who is, they need to obtain a scholar of understanding on how botanical herbs and organics and chemicals work, and the elements and how they work. And once they can ascertain that, then they can be able to communicate with formulators and manufacturers, speak their language, understand what they're really, how to get what they want, how to design what they want. And we're going to talk about that at the summit, because they don't know which one to trademark. They don't know which one to copyright. They don't know which one that they have eminent domain or public domain, or and then versus all of that. And I think that it's worth a conversation before we start leveling up. And we want to do things, but there's a lot of industries that are so naturally that can integrate to and are connected to beauty, media, books, to become an expert, specialize if you wanted to even specialize, fashion. You know how many times we use towels and capes, and we use all types of things that we think about that would make our lives easier. And I told you, salon design, the salon was made by plumbers and architects of kitchens. The salon was not really designed by hairstylists. So,
okay, that's a whole other podcast. We might have to do one on that. Ain't that right, Hair Savant? Very interesting. So there you have it, guys. You have rocked it out with us for 2 hours. There are no words that we can find to say how much we appreciate you. So we're going to be back next Thursday, and we're going to be talking about ingredients. So everybody's got one of them ingredients books. So we're going to go ahead on and be something, just be bold here and put out that ingredient book. And Cheryl going to walk us through. That's going to probably be a part 1 and a part 2 as we talk about ingredients, especially given the backdrop of the FDA's ban of the chemical straighteners, not relaxers, that has formaldehyde in it. So we'll start off with that, and then we'll go right into the ingredients. So if you are a product junkie or a nerdy like me, then come on back and join us next Thursday. And then Monday, we'll see if we can come pop up live and talk about heat on hair. But in the meantime, you know what we say when we're signing out here, right? Don't forget, tickets are still available. But in the meantime, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. Deuces, my good people. Hair Savant, I will see you Monday. And anybody else who's coming, thank you guys so much.